Well, terrorism charges have been filed against a suspect in yesterday's attack in New York City. Investigators say the 27-year-old Aqaid Ullah told police that he did it for ISIS. The explosion injured 3 bystanders, and Ullah, according to police, say that he was carrying a low-tech bomb. It detonated inside a subway passenger tunnel. Earlier today, though, the charges against him were announced.
The complaint filed this morning charges Ullah with 5 counts of federal crimes. First, providing material support to a terrorist organization, that being ISIS. Second, using and attempting to use a weapon of mass destruction, that being an improvised explosive device, or an IED. Third, bombing a place of public use. Fourth, destruction of property by means of an explosive. And fifth, use of a destructive device during and in furtherance of a crime of violence.
CBS News Justice and Homeland Security correspondent Jeff Pegues is in Washington with the latest. Jeff, what have we learned about the suspect?
We learned a lot from those charging documents released today. These are the court papers outlining what investigators have on this suspect. And what we learned was more about the planning that went into this attack. According to investigators, this is someone who was radicalized, at least beginning, they say, in 2014. He came into the country in 2011, but he became radicalized around 2014 by looking at online ISIS propaganda. So we learned that today. We also learned more about the planning, how he put together this bomb, according to investigators and what's in these court documents. A year ago, he started researching how to build an IED, an improvised explosive device, the likes of which went off yesterday in New York City. And then 3 weeks before the attack yesterday, he started gathering the ingredients for this device. And then yesterday, according to investigators, he posted on Facebook this, saying that, "Trump, you failed to protect your nation." But what I also forgot to mention was that he started building this bomb about a week ago. And this is sort of a crude device. We heard that yesterday. It had a 9-volt battery and Christmas lights and some other wires attached to it. But it obviously malfunctioned. You can see the shrapnel wound to his abdomen area there. But this is a device that he started putting together about a week ago, Rena.
We know that officials have been speaking to the suspect's family. Do we know if they've gotten anything out of the family?
Well, we know that what investigators are after is whether he was operating alone. Right now, it looks like he was acting alone, but investigators want to know whether he was communicating with anyone, whether there was someone close to him that had any knowledge about this planned attack. We haven't heard whether they've gathered that type of information yet, but it's still relatively early in this investigation. But that is the kind of information investigators want to see if there was a bigger plot here. Right now, it doesn't look like that was the case.
Jeff, you mentioned a bigger plot. The suspect wasn't known to authorities, but we understand the FBI does have a large number of open domestic investigations that are related to ISIS. So what's really the biggest challenge for law enforcement as they're tracking down these types of cases?
Well, how hard they are to spot people like this. There are about 1,000 open cases across the country, according to the FBI, related to ISIS, and that has been the running tally that we've seen over the last several years. But in a case like this, Ullah is one of those guys who was radicalized by ingesting this ISIS propaganda online. Oftentimes that happens behind closed doors. And according to the FBI, he's not someone who was on their radar. They had no idea that this person was a threat. And it just speaks to the challenges for investigators as they try to spot and prevent attacks like this before they happen. It's really hard to do when a lot of these people are being radicalized online behind closed doors, as was the case with this suspect.
Absolutely hard to do. Thank you so much, Jeff Pegues, for joining us.